Good evening, everyone. We're ready to get started. First of all, thank you so much for being here tonight. We have many new incoming freshmen. We're excited to see you. Every year we just get a new batch of you guys, and it's pretty exciting for us. And then what happens is we see your mentors come back, and we haven't seen them all summer, and they're all like 6 inches taller, and it's kind of a cool thing for us. Parents, thank you for joining us as well. And then also, I know there's some other existing students, and then also new students in the upper grades. Thank you for being here. My name is Jamie Leering, and I have the pleasure of serving as the president of KML now. We'll talk a little bit about leadership structure later on. There's a little bit different structure than we've had in the past, and you'll get to see a few different folks come and talk to you tonight about the different pieces of starting at KML. I always think about the fact when you guys are walking in, raise your hand if you are the first one in your family to come to KML. Parents, if this is your first child coming to KML. So first one, raise your hand if that's you. Quite a few of you. Well, even some applause for you. If you I was a middle child, so I'm going to skip the middle part. If you are sending your last child here and you've had other children come before, raise your hand if this is the last one. Quite a few of you as well. So different folks, we'll clap for you guys as well. Yeah, I know in 4 years the tuition's done, and that's something to look forward to. I completely understand that. So different folks in different walks of life, but we are excited to have all of you here tonight to walk you through. Our goal with this presentation is there's a lot of detail. You're probably not going to remember all of it, but we try to put extra words in the presentation. It will be emailed out to you later on, so you can refer back to it as well. But you get an idea of who do you go to for what when you have questions as well. So just to start, I'd like to start with a Bible passage this evening. So then, just as you received Christ Jesus as Lord, continue to live your lives in him, rooted and built up in him, strengthened in the faith as you were taught, and overflowing with thankfulness. Our three values at KML are truth, together, and tomorrow, and I think this passage captures all three. We stand on the foundation of God's word in a world that there's all kinds of things going on all the time, and God says we should expect it. We stand on the truth of Scripture, and when you strip that back, it's God's grace for each one of us. We have a rightful place in heaven because of what Christ has done for us. But then God also has expectations for how we live as Christians in this world, and he lays that out for us. And we build a culture, that togetherness, a KML family around what God has designed for us to do, how God has designed for us to live his way. And then the tomorrow part is a Christ-guided success path for all. Every kid in every class is different. Those of you who you're coming to high school for your very first time, you're excited, you're nervous, I can guarantee you we have a pathway for you. We don't say like college is the best or tech ed is the best or you're going to an apprenticeship is the best. We try to create all these pathways so you can discover your gifts, you can try a bunch of things, and then you can use how you are uniquely gifted to make a difference in this world once you leave here. That's our goal with our Christ-guided success path when we talk about tomorrow. So really excited that you're here once again. Pardon our dust a little bit. 10 days ago, the school did not look like it looks like today. It was pretty bad. We've had a lot of construction programs and things going on. There's some dust around yet, but we're getting really close to being ready for school with all the changes going on. Also, just a quick note, if you did not pay lunch money when you came in because the line was too long, you'll be able to do that afterward if you want to or anytime before school. Also, if you did not grab your student's schedule, those are on the table out there. You'll need those once we kind of move on later as well. One other piece that I want to share with you before I pass on to some other details, our COVID-19 procedures this year. This year is different than last year, but there are still things kind of going around. So just to make sure you understand what our take, from the very beginning, we have tried to make decisions around respecting one another, but then also empowering our parents to make the decisions for their families and for their students. So we will continue to have the mask optional. I can tell you, last year when the mandate went away and we went back to mask optional, there are kids with masks, there are some without masks. Everybody's respected equally, and it's okay, whatever you decide to do for your family. Practice hand washing. If you're sick, I'd say last year was the first year in my education history where kids actually stayed home when they were sick. Am I right? Like, yeah. And parents were a little bit more like, you got a fever, you probably shouldn't go. We'd encourage you to continue with that. Things like if your child has a fever, wait till their symptoms are gone for 24 hours. Let's just be smart about not passing on our illnesses to others. Quarantining, we feel obligated if someone tests positive that there's a quarantine period. We're not going to ask everybody if they're vaccinated except in that instance, and if they are, then the symptoms, they won't have to go about that quarantine if they don't. But very small compared to last year, but we continue to monitor numbers too, and we continue to look, but we really want to leave the decision-making in your hands. If you have any questions about any of that after tonight, you can feel free to email me. I'll be around for questions as well. At this point, I'm going to pass it on to Mr. Albrecht, who serves as our Director of Student Culture.
My name is Dan Albrecht, and I'm privileged to serve the families and students of KML as the Director of Student Culture. Part of my role deals with attendance, school safety, school discipline, and ensuring smooth day-to-day operations along with our Director of Instruction and Director of Student Services. As we embark on another school year together, we want to make sure our Christian culture permeates all that we do. As a family of Christians, there's no clearer place to base our daily living on than God's Word, which is found in the Bible. To that end, I'd like to introduce you to God's Way at KML for Students. This student-led project with the theme, We Live by God's Way at KML because of all He's done for us, has words that guide our behavior and the way we carry out our daily lives. The words our students selected are on the screen for you. We live with humility, gratefulness, integrity, unity, leadership, drive, and support. Throughout the school year, we'll be introducing these words to our students in chapel and in our Word of God classes, as well as many other opportunities throughout the day. As a community of Christians, we still have rules that guide our lives here at KML. As I discuss these rules, please keep in mind that it's our goal that we carry out our mission to educate, encourage, and equip God's people for life and eternity. We want to live God's way at KML, and adhering to guidelines helps us to build a culture that's rooted in God's Word and guided by faith. I'd like to take a few minutes to discuss attendance with you, or a few moments, not minutes, I promise. Tardies, you're allowed 2 tardies per class period. Beyond that, there's a $5 fine for every tardy. Absences, if you miss more than 10 days of a specific class, it could result in losing credit for that class. And then truancy is another word we use. That's missing school without parental permission and school notification. If you call KML, you'll be greeted by one of these friendly, helpful individuals. They can assist you with any questions you might have, and they play a vital role in our attendance system. Mrs. Chelsea Brandel, are you in here? She's in the back, waving there. She's here every day, and Mrs. Dawn Wilcox and Mrs. Amy Hansen, you can see the days that they're in as well. If you call, they'll be happy to assist you with your needs. When you need to report your child absent, either for illnesses or planned absences, please email our office at office@kmlhs.org. We'd like you to follow that format that you see on the screen to explain who they are, why they're being absent, and the reason for the absence and the time in and out. So if they're coming later on in the day, please note that as well. As part of your Power School parent account, you'll be able to see attendance by period for your child. You'll see some more information about that later on in the presentation. Note that there might be a delay in your notification of your child being absent and you seeing it reported on Power School. As Mr. Leering said earlier in his presentation, we believe that in-person education is our best option. Students and families should coordinate with classroom teachers when they're absent to get missing work and access to course resources. If your child has a positive COVID test or somebody in your family tests positive for COVID, please just let Mrs. Brandel know by sending her an email. As we seek to live God's way at KML, we have a dress code that helps ensure modesty. Guys, please take note of those few short bullet points on the screen. We'd ask that your shorts are within 6 inches of your kneecap and that no undergarments show below the leg opening or above the waistline. And then facial hair, juniors and seniors, you're allowed to have facial hair that's neatly trimmed. Freshmen, sophomores, please be clean shaven. Girls, the same 6-inch rule works for your shorts, skirts, and dresses, and tops need to be no lower than 2 inches from your collarbone. And then we ask that you keep your midriffs covered as well. For everybody, we just ask that you don't have visible tattoos or visible piercings that aren't in your ears, and that your hair color remains a normal color, and then remain appropriately covered during normal movement. We are allowing frayed or ripped jeans as long as skin doesn't show through more than 6 inches above the kneecap. So that's a modification from last year. As a reminder, our dress code is in effect during the school day, during special dress-up days at school, at sporting events both on and off campus, and at school-sponsored events and activities. For other dress code items, I encourage you to consult and familiarize yourself with the handbook that's posted on the KML website. Just a note, our picture day is the first day of school. That's next week, Wednesday, if you didn't know that. Our retake day is listed there, and just please make sure you follow the dress code for that picture day. This year, we're encouraging you to order, if you want to order pictures, to do so by ordering online. You can see the link there, kmlhs.org/schoolpics. Another things that students like to bring to school and use might be some electronic devices such as their cell phones. Just note that they cannot be used in locker rooms, restrooms, and that teachers have specific directions for how they can be used in their classroom. If students disregard these policies, their phones will be confiscated and given to me, and they'll pay a $20 fine to have them returned. We also do encourage you to label Chromebooks and chargers and keep those in a protective sleeve, and any other type of electronics you might bring to school. We have, through the years, collected several pieces of electronics that we can't reunite with the owner because they're not labeled. So please put some labels on those so we can get those back to the right people. My slides are out of order up here. All right, I'll go to this one. Lockers. We're asking students to use their lockers as much as possible and to keep those locked. You may want to put items in your locker before school starts. You can come in during any of the hours that our office is open and come into the building and do that. We are allowing backpacks to be used this year. We just ask that students limit the amount of materials that are in their backpacks. Our congestion in the hallways can be reduced if we have a little bit smaller backpacks on. At times, despite our best efforts and intentions, we still may fail to live up to God's way here at KML. In the event that there needs to be a discipline for not following our guidelines, a detention may be issued by a teacher or administrator. Detentions are served every Wednesday, or Wednesdays if they're issued, for 45 minutes after school. Detentions will supersede any extracurricular activities, and missed detentions result in additional penalties. Some teachers might also give academic detentions, and those are given if work's not done or turned in on time, and those are kind of set up with teacher schedule in mind, so they'll tell your student when they'll be serving those. Social media is a great communication tool, so we just encourage students to use that appropriately and to proactively communicate about KML and with and about your classmates. We take instances of cyberbullying and bullying very seriously, and those can be reported to me. And please note that the consequences for not adhering to our policy are listed up on the screen. To keep our campus safe and respond to emergencies in appropriate fashions, we have a school safety plan. Our plan includes emergency drills for fire, severe weather, and school safety. In addition to drills, under the direction of local law enforcement, K-9 units are brought in, and we conduct unannounced searches for illegal substances. Our building is locked during the school day, and all visitors need to check in at the school office. For those of you who are utilizing either Germantown or West Bend busing that is done through the Right Way Bus Company, they should be contacting you with times for drop-off and pickups. Times are different for Germantown and West Bend when those schools are not in session. Of note, I just have a note here, if you are in the West Bend busing area, they will pick up at whatever location they have agreed with you, but they will drop off only at Good Shepherd until West Bend schools are back in session. And then if Right Way has not reached out to you and you are in need of busing and you live in those areas, please let Mrs. Brandel know as soon as possible. A change from last year for students is the morning drop-off occurs at the front door for both our van and our buses. In the afternoon, when they get picked up by the bus, they'll actually exit the PAC here and meet the bus or the vans in the PAC parking lot. So it's a change from last year if you had a student here last year who took the bus. If you have a student who's parking a vehicle at school, they're going to be issued a parking spot and a parking sticker. All students who registered will receive those in the first week of school, and they should place those in the lower driver's side portion of their windshield. Parents, if you're wondering how you register your student for this, you can go on your PowerSchool account. Some information came out a couple weeks ago via email to register for a parking spot. And students will receive those stickers next week during school, but they'll only get those if the parent has completed the registration on PowerSchool. So please make sure you take care of that if you haven't yet. Drop up and pick up. This is a really congested time of the day, so please take a look at this map and kind of follow these routes. To ensure safety for our student drivers and those who are picking up and dropping off, please follow these routes. When you enter our lot from Division Road, please proceed to the upper parking lot that's near the football field, circle around the second and third rows of the parking spots, and then proceed back down in that yellow area towards the main entrance. You can pick up and drop off as you near that main entrance. Note that there's also a staff member directing students at the crosswalk and in the afternoon at the exit of the student parking lot. So just kind of be watching for them. They might direct traffic or stop you at certain points. At the beginning of the school year, this is going to be really busy and hectic, so just be patient, be careful when passing around other vehicles, and watch for the directions of those who are out there directing traffic and students. Finally, we just encourage you to be proactive. Being involved is part of the high school experience. Being social is a way that students can get together and enjoy their school years. Many times these social events take place outside of the school and in your homes. We encourage your students to get involved and take advantage of these opportunities, but we kindly ask that you be present in these get-togethers that take place in your home and actively supervise the teens under your care. We encourage you to reach out to parents who are hosting teen gatherings, and also, if you're hosting one, to welcome calls from other parents who are wondering about the details of the gathering. Please help our teens live according to God's way, even when they're outside the halls of KML. At this time, I have the privilege of introducing Dan Nomenson of Christian Family Solutions. He'll be sharing some vital information about mental health screening and opportunities for mental health services through KML and Christian Family Solutions.
All right, thanks, Dan. Good evening, everyone. My name's Dan Nomenson. I'm with Christian Family Solutions. We provide mental health counseling and mental health services for a lot of different Lutheran high schools, grade schools, and colleges around the country, including Kettle. We're actually in our 9th year of providing services here, and we are very excited to continue to have the clinical mental health treatment right here on site at Kettle. There are challenges that teens face at times, and we want to be part of the support structure that's here at Kettle, and we're glad to be here. We have a counselor here this year. Her name is Ryan Wendt. And Ryan, if you could stand and be recognized, please. She's up here in the front. Ryan is a licensed clinical social worker. She will be here 5 days a week this year. Previously, we had a counselor here 1 or 2 days a week. This year, it's 5 days a week, and her role is expanded in our partnership with Kettle to provide not only counseling services, but other services that we can provide educational presentations, also consultations with you parents. If you have questions or concerns about your son or daughter and would like to talk with her, she is available to do that as well. We can provide clinical services here on site. We accept private pay, insurance. We will provide 3 sessions at no cost. So if you do have any concerns about your son or daughter, see Dan Albrecht and contact him for a referral to Ryan, and we'll make sure that that gets scheduled in right away. We do also, as one of our services, have screening. This is for incoming students, freshmen and other students that are new to Kettle. And this screening is short. It is a quick mental health checkup. We strongly encourage freshmen to complete the screening. It is voluntary. However, Kettle has been at the top of all of our high schools that we've served. Every year we've done the screening here. Last year they were 98% of our freshmen here at Kettle did a screening. So we would love for you to take advantage of that. Moms, dads, you can even just scan that QR code right now, fill out the form, and get that in right away tonight, and we'll schedule your son or daughter for that screening. Ryan will do those, and she will then contact mom and dad and give a brief summary so that you know how your son or daughter's doing. If there are any concerns, we can move them right into counseling services and get them help. I think there's also forms out in the back, too, if you want a paper form to complete. But please do that tonight and keep that here so that we can get that scheduled in. I think that's all I have. We're very happy again to be here with you, and I will turn it over to Josh. Oh, be careful. You all right? Okay.
Thanks, Dan. My name is Josh Roshanik. I serve as the Director of Student Services here at KML. Again, I will push the note that Dan had there. We would like every freshman parent to complete that paperwork. You can either do that online or in the lobby. That screening takes place during the school day. It's about a 15-minute part of the computer apps period that they will use to do that. So this is the student services team. Mr. Zemer, I would hope that every single person in the room here has met and shaken his hand and smiled at him. He is our admissions director. He's a big reason why a lot of you are here tonight, and we thank him for that. All freshmen, during the first couple of weeks of school, will get a chance to sit down with Mr. Zemer and chat with him about how things are going here. He's kind of the guy that starts everybody out here. I sit in the middle as the Director of Student Services. I really work with everybody on scheduling while they're here. So if you have any schedule concerns, you can bring those to me. And then I pass people on to Mr. Waltz, who will help guide you through graduation and out to whatever you're going to do next. I will mention on the end there, Mrs. Chemnitz is our administrative assistant. For anybody who's been around here for a while, or even materials that you were sent earlier this year, you would have seen the name Dorothy Martin. Dorothy has served here for 23 years and is retiring, and I think Friday this week is actually her last official day, and it's Mrs. Chemnitz's first official day. I mention that to you because there are some things that say, please email Mrs. Martin or please email Mrs. Chemnitz. Forgive us if there's a little bit of transition there that we have to work through as we work on that communication. So schedule changes. If you want to make some kind of change to your schedule, I'm the guy that you should communicate with. You can certainly call me on the phone, but I usually prefer email. The reason, not because I don't want to talk to you, but oftentimes it takes a little bit of time to process through, is this possible to move this here and there and wherever? And it's generally easier if I just do that over email with you. You can do a schedule change anytime until the end of the 4th day of school. So if you come in, start a couple days into class, and you realize, oh, this really isn't for me, I'd like to make a change, you can certainly come in and see me, talk to me here on campus, or shoot me an email. Teachers of courses, especially ones that would be at the upper level, may make some suggestions to you that you maybe want to choose something different. If you're in an honors course, there are some policies around that we will talk about in class. The one thing that I ask is that you don't make requests to switch from one teacher to another or switch the periods that you have, your classes. We generally don't do that for people. I am also the Power School guy. So I am hoping that everybody here has logged into Power School at least once already. This is a hub of communication that we have back and forth between our teachers and our parents and our students here. If you need some help getting into that system, your first point of contact is going to be Mrs. Chemnitz. Inside Power School, and I'll mention this is the web version of it, the big piece is the grades and attendance section. And you'll see a layout that looks kind of like this. It'll show you every single teacher and every single course that your student is taking. It'll show you what the current grade is, what the grade is for the semester. It'll show you attendance and tardies and some day-by-day attendance for the last 2-week information here. A lot of things there are clickable, so if you see that your student has a B+ in U.S. history, you can click on the B+ and it'll show you all the assignments that were part of making up that grade. There's just kind of some close-up views of that. I will also mention the food service program. I am not really involved in selling any food, but I am involved in the money part of this. So hot lunch and other a la carte items are available every day. If you don't know what a la carte means, that just means that we don't just serve, here's your meal. There's a lot of other things that you can choose to pick from that are each individually priced. So we have chips and cookies and milk and salads and other things like that in addition to the regular meal that's available. We do sell breakfast items on Friday mornings. That's in the entryway of the main entrance. The menu's available for you to see. The purchases through the food service program are a debit program, which means you have to have money in the system in order to make a purchase. We don't allow you to go into a negative balance. You can track spending, deposits, and balances, both kids and parents can, in PowerSchool. You do that through the balance part of PowerSchool, so if you see balance, that's what that's talking about. And it would look something like this. So mom and dad, you're putting money in. You can also see exactly which items your student purchased, how much they paid for them, all that good stuff. To get money into the food service program, you can do a lot of different things. Cash or check in the KML office any day before school starts here. Cash or check tonight in the PAC lobby. We'd ask that you wait until like 8:15 when you're done and come back and do that. Kids can bring cash or check in the study hall. That's where they drop money off during the school year. We have a big push for our eFunds program also, which is a way that you can electronically deposit money into your student's account. If you make use of this, this does have some nice features that you can either schedule deposits to be made at certain times, or you can say, hey, when my kid's lunch balance hits $10, put another $50 in their account, however you want to handle that. If you're going to be using the food service program, we do really encourage you to try and make sure that you get some money into that account before the first day of school, just to avoid some embarrassment. In PowerSchool, I'm going to go back to, there is a section called Account Preferences. You should only ever visit this once. But if you've never been in PowerSchool before, you should do it today before you forget. The Account Preferences part of PowerSchool gives you several different options. The thing that I am going to push is that if you are interested in receiving a notification via email of how your student is doing in their classes, this is how you can do it. There are some choices there of what information you can get. I encourage the top one. The other ones are a lot of times just way too much information. You'll also see the last option there is a balance alert. That will automatically send you an email if your student gets to a low balance in their lunch account. You can choose how often you want to get those sent. And the bottom choice at the bottom that says send now is just a way to test that it's got the right email address and the email's coming through. I include this for your reference later. There is a PowerSchool mobile app that you can use. It does not have all the same features as the web version, but it is a quick and handy way to check up on your kids' grades. If you use that mobile app, you have to know the special code. The special code is LSTC. It's a set of letters that PowerSchool assigned to us. It does not stand for anything. Email communication. We do quite a bit of email communication back and forth to parents as well as to students. So this is my encouragement that if you don't think you've ever gotten an email from me before or from office@kmlhs.org before, please contact us, because we probably have sent at least half a dozen things out to you that we were hoping to get to you. Sometimes that stuff ends up in your spam folder. We want to just make sure that communication is flowing. Also an encouragement, we find especially for incoming freshmen, they maybe are not as used to looking in their email for important information. So just an encouragement that you as parents tell them, hey, have you checked your email tonight? I'm going to introduce now my coworker, Mrs. Sheila Krause. Sheila heads up the Learning Center. She and I work in partnership since I'm the guy who tracks grades and does report card stuff. She and I work together quite a bit because the grades that you're getting in your classes usually signal that you may need some assistance to be a more successful student. So I'm going to pass it off to Sheila.
As he said, I'm Sheila Krause. I'm in charge of the Learning Center. And one of the key things that I do is I keep track of the grades of everybody in the school. So you might not be in the Learning Center, but I still run a weekly report to make sure everybody's grades are where they need to be. So if your child ends up with a D or an F in a class, I run the report on Monday mornings, and if it's on there, I may send an email to your child and say, hey, what's going on? I noticed your grade dropped. Do we need to chat? So we might need to talk and just say, you know, I missed a couple days of school. I'm good. I'm just going to get everything caught up. This is when I'm going to get it done by. Great. Again, by Monday of the next week when I run that report, I'm hoping I'll see that that grade has gone up. I also run a missing work report, so the kids can't say to me, oh, but I have everything turned in, because the teachers also update that for me on PowerSchool, which you also will see on PowerSchool as well. If a student struggles with improving their grade, they might be temporarily moved into the Learning Center. The goal is to get them caught up and send them back to study hall or commons. Now, there's 3 ways a student can be placed into the Learning Center. One, especially for new students coming in, it could have been the principal or the grade school teacher that you had made the recommendation. Maybe it was just, you know what, I think for transitional purposes, from going from a small school to high school, it would be good to have that, to make sure they start out on the right track. Those kids only usually stay in maybe a few weeks. If they're doing really well, study hall is right next door. I go, there's the door. Thanks for visiting. Then parents or a teacher can make the request. If a teacher sees a child is struggling in their class, they'll contact me. Though, of course, they start out with trying to work with them first, but if the struggle continues, the teacher can make that recommendation. Again, it can be temporary. Parents, feel free to contact me. Doesn't mean as soon as you contact me, it's automatically they're going to be in the Learning Center. It's something we can work on together. Again, as I had said before, if the grades are low and I'm seeing that they're not going up at all, I might temporarily or permanently, depending upon if they're working at getting them caught up, place them in the Learning Center. Again, those that are placed in could be because they were absent, missed school, fell behind, those kinds of things. My staff, I think we have about 10 part-time people that are working in the Learning Center. They assist the students with organizing and prioritizing assignments so the kids can get their work done. It's a structured study hall, is what the Learning Center is. We create a plan with the student for those that fall behind to help them get caught up. And then the change is they have a different teacher for every period. How do they communicate with them? We assist with sending emails, to schedule meetings, or to ask questions. And then we encourage them, make sure you check your emails. I don't know how many times I've had kids After the first week of school, I've asked them, have you checked your emails? No, I haven't opened any of them yet. Here it is. Check your emails. And then while they're in the Learning Center, we do try to keep it to no more than 5 to 6 students per staff person, so their child can get the assistance that they need.
Good evening. My name is Jason Walsh, and I am the guidance director at Kettle Moraine Lutheran High School. Our main task in guidance is to help each child figure out their Christ-guided success path, and Kettle Moraine Lutheran has done a good job for many years of allowing kids to find their talents in many different areas. We do that through different individual meetings. We do it through a platform known as Zello. The main thing that I'll talk to you about Zello is a reminder that students will now have volunteer hours. We took a holiday for volunteer hours as a mandatory part of graduation for COVID, and now we're happy to be able to offer the opportunity for volunteerism for all the students. And so we'll talk about that in their classes, and we'll set that up. Zello gives them an opportunity to record that as sort of part of a resume for their future. The last thing I'm going to go through is just to the students who are here. Grades are important. And to the parents, grades aren't that important. But then to the students, grades are important, especially to keep doors open for the future that lies in front of you. With that, then, if you have any questions about future plans and careers and college and anything else, drop me an email, and I'll hand off to our activities director.
My name's Joe Griefkes. I had the privilege of meeting a lot of you at our parent-athlete meeting, so tonight my goal is just to reiterate some of those details that I have already shared with the large majority of you folks. To make sure we get out at 7 o'clock, I will give you the Cliff Notes version of the slides that I have in front of you here. First off, that is my team. Privileged to be the director of activities. My faithful athletic assistant is in the back, Mrs. Amy Noss. Most of you know her. Can't see her. She's waving there in the doorway. Mrs. Zock is not here. She is our activities assistant, helps with a lot of fine art stuff, also outside facility use. Mr. Albrecht is our junior Chargers coordinator and handles a lot of work with the juniors. So if you have younger children that have an interest in participating in athletics at KML, he is your guy. Remind all of our parents that you are all part of the KML Charger Club. That's fancy for you can help out with anything you would like to help out with. If you would like to take stats, if you would like to sign up for extra days to grill or to help in the concession stand, if you'd like to formally be an officer to help us run some of the fundraisers and events that we run here, we have elections every 2 years, so we welcome you to join our officers of our Charger Club officially. There's more info at the website you see in front of you. We have Chargerware here tonight for sale, so Mrs. Waldvogel is faithfully serving again as that coordinator. She is here. When you walked in, you should have seen the Chargerware. You can also order online through a company that offers tons of apparel choices. If you go to kmlchargers.com, you can see a ton of that information there. Fall sports, a couple sports are going. Super excited. Right now, the WIA has basically encouraged vaccines. Masks are optional. They have not limited spectators in any way, shape, or form. So here at KML, we're following academic policy. We're following WIA policy, and we belong to the East Central Conference, so we will continue to be guided by them as well. But for right now, what a blessing. What a blessing that we get to go into the school year with full bleachers, full sidelines. You can invite grandpa and grandma, anyone that you would like to come to our athletic events. That's a huge blessing of this school year, so we're super pumped about that. If you are unsure, you still want to do a fall sport and you have no idea what to do, who to talk to, please see me, email me, or my assistant, Mrs. Noss, and we can help you out and get you rolling. We do have all sports passes for sale today. So if you are interested in saving some money on admissions, we have individual and family passes for sale. We also have grandparent passes on hand. Lastly, if you have athletic paperwork, especially if you have a child who's a fall athlete, make sure that you get that information to us before that first practice day. Your child cannot officially practice, try out, etc., until we have all of that paperwork on hand. Final piece, get involved. Right now we have a little over 80% of our students involved in some activity here at KML. So that's not just athletics, that's many, many activities and clubs that we have to offer here at KML. So we encourage you, please, please, please get involved. If you need more information, let me know. Full listing of all of our activities are there. They continue to grow every year. Again, this is sent out, so if this is too much for you in the short time that I have, feel free to check that email and let me know if you need anything else. Lastly, Mr. Zemer asked me to let you know there are 9 Future Charger yard signs still available out in the entrance. If you would like one and you do not have one yet, please feel free to grab one. And up next is Mr. Moeller.
Hello, my name is Matt Moeller. I am privileged and honored to serve as the Director of Instruction. Our vision is we want to provide a Christ-guided success path for all of our students. And our goal is that we have a quality curriculum and instruction for all of them. So we would like your feedback and support throughout the year. At different points, I'll send out surveys asking for your feedback to see what we're doing well, areas in which we can improve, because we are committed to continuously improve the work that we do. So please reach out to me if you have questions or concerns about curriculum or instruction, and also look for opportunity to share the great things that our teachers are doing and share those with me, and then I can pass them on to them. And also, if there are other questions that need to be addressed, make sure that you contact me. We need to get you going, so we're not going to give you an opportunity, unfortunately, tonight to meet the freshman teachers. But these slides will be sent out so you can put a name with a face. We need to get the parents and the returning and the 10th to 12th graders off so they can get off to their schedules. So parents, you can head out those doors and head to the first period class. If you need help, please ask someone in the hallways. Returning 10 to 12th graders, you can also head out. Those of you who are new to the KML family, you can meet your mentor out by the water, the drinking fountains in the hallway out there. Freshmen, please remain in here for just a minute.
Freshman students, you guys want to stay in here. We're going to get you to your supper in just a minute, but